of Fame career secured, a man looking ahead to more championships in his future.
It's a great honor. It's great to be successful. You know, everybody want to be with winners. Nobody want to be with losers. But to be the first in history, I really don't know how I feel right now because I'm still doing it. I'm still boxing. I read about it, but until I get in the Hall of Fame and until I be able to be 50 and 60 and look back, then I understand it. Right now, I'm just doing what God gave me here to do, and that's become a great fighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to the stage the big man with a big heart. Might come in a little size, but he's ready to do it. Mark Too Sharp Johnson.
No doubt, Johnson has a champion's heart, facing many setbacks in his career. Championship form.
On Lennox Lewis, they asked him, what fighter do you like to watch? What fighter do you sit in front of the TV screen an hour before he fight? And Lennox Lewis said, Mark Too Sharp Johnson. For that to come from an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights in the world, along with, Nate Campbell, along with Antonio Tarver, Zab Judah, and all those guys, give me the props that, hey, you're the best left-hander in the world, regardless of I'm a left-hander. That makes me feel great. It makes me feel like my accomplishment is great. It makes me feel like, hey, my dad gave me the right skills. My dad sent me the right way. And not only with me, he gets a lot of accomplishments as well. And it's just a great feeling because I know that we're the best father and son in boxing. You had Shane Mosley and Jack Mosley. They broke up. You had Zab and his father. They're a good team, but nobody has been with me the way my dad has been since an amateur, since the age of 5 years old. And I would guess that we are the best father and son team in the history of boxing right now. A lot of people say father and sons don't make it. We made it, we still making it. And the difference is that inside the gym is a coach, inside the house is a father. Outside of boxing, it's just that we're best friends. And that's why I know we're the best father and son. And it's a great accomplishment for great fighters to say, hey, Mark Johnson is one of the best. And they let her watch me. It's great.
Too Sharp Johnson dominated the flyweight ranks for many, many years. Back again in championship form.
What I planned to do Saturday was to come out and give everybody a great show. Now I plan to give everybody a good boxing night. Mark Johnson has everything to lose come Saturday. This is something that I really wanted my whole career, is to unify the titles. The negotiations started 2 days ago. So it looked like Mark Johnson to be unifying the titles in October on the Trinidad Mallorca show. So this is something that Mark Johnson has never been able to look down the line and say, okay, this is what I'm gonna get next. So if I get cut, if I get hurt, then my dream is out the window. At first I was coming in to give my fans a great showing. I was coming in to sit down and get this guy out of there, knock this guy out. Now, change the plans. Outboxing, have fun, don't get hurt. And it's the same situation that Bernard Hopkins was in when he fought Robert Allen. He made the fight easy, but it was boring. But he won, but he looked forward to the De La Hoya show. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing. I'm ready to, yeah, he's going to sleep, and I'm ready to go.
Too Sharp Johnson talking the talk. Let's see if he can walk the walk tonight against a tough opponent, Paulino Villalobos. More on him in a minute, but there you see Too Sharp Johnson making his way across the outfield portion of Baysox Stadium. Family man. You heard him mention his father, Ham Johnson, who's been his lifelong trainer way back to the amateur days for Mark Johnson. His trainer's been his father. There he is with referee Kenny Chevalier. And a lot riding on this fight for Mark Too Sharp Johnson. If he were to win here tonight, he's facing a unification fight. You heard him talk about it, against Luis Perez, the IBF super flyweight champion. Paulino Villalobos stands in the way, however. Villalobos, 23-24, losing record, but he is ready for this action tonight. A look at the tail of the tape, Mark Johnson and Villalobos. You see the reach advantage in favor of Too Sharp. Also fighting near his hometown here, is going to have the home crowd behind him. Look at the rules tonight. Unified rules. No knockdown rule in effect, no standing 8 count in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. There's a cut after 4 rounds. They go to the scorecards, and a fighter can't be saved by the bell in any round. We are set for the introduction of our fighters. So much on the line for Too Sharp.
Absolute entertainment in association with La Cerveza Más Fina, Corona, the Crown King of Beers, and the Hobo Shop proudly presents our co-featured bout of the evening, introducing the principals. First, fighting out the blue corner, he's wearing the colors of his native flag, green, yellow, and white. He weighed in at a fit, fighting and ready 119 1/4 pounds. Originally from Veracruz, Mexico, now fighting out of Fort Myers, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paulino El Gato Villalobos. And his opponent, fighting out the red corner, wearing the yellow and white trunks. He weighed in at a lean and mean 123 pounds. His outstanding world-class professional record, 43 big victories against 3 defeats, 28 big KOs to his credit. Welcoming back to the nation's capital, ladies and gentlemen, here is the 3-time and defending WBO junior bantamweight champion of the world, Mark Too Sharp Johnson. 10-round super bantamweight.
The main thing I want is a clean break, all right? Zapata sin Olympia. Watch the low blows. No go bez bajo. I don't want the head used in the wrong way. No usi like a vesamal. Toca se la guantes. Touch these gloves.
All right, we're ready. 10 rounds scheduled tonight here in Bowie, Maryland. Paulino Villalobos started his career rather nicely, 7-0, but he has lost 8 of his last 11 fights. Too Sharp Johnson looking to stay sharp here with a unification bout on the horizon. Fighting in the super bantamweight, junior bantamweight division, but Too Sharp coming in at his heaviest yet, 122 pounds. And we are ready. Round 1 underway. Uniquely a battle of southpaws here in this one. Too Sharp before the fight said he wanted to work on a few things, wanted to get a nice night's work in. Villalobos, as we mentioned, with a losing record, 23-24 with 2 draws, just 14 knockouts. So at least on paper, a soft touch for Too Sharp Johnson tonight. Too Sharp carries a very heavy hands for a man his size. A lot of knockouts to his credit over a very illustrious career. Slow start here as Too Sharp trying to feel out the opponent, Villalobos. Last time out for Villalobos, he fought one of the kids, actually, Clarence Vincent, a kid that looks up to Too Sharp Johnson. Vincent, a former Olympian from the Sydney Games. He handled Villalobos by unanimous decision last time out in June of this year. In fact, Vincent, one of the kids that trained at Ham Johnson's gym, along with Mark Too Sharp Johnson. So, a little synergy there between the common opponents of Paulino Villalobos. Mark Johnson stepping in. Very slick for a man his size as well. Typical fighters at this weight class show a lot of speed, not a lot of power, but Too Sharp has some heavy hands, as we mentioned. Last fight out for Too Sharp Johnson, Luis Bolano in March of this year, and he knocked him out in the 4th round. Too Sharp on a 3-fight winning streak since losing a bantamweight title shot against Rafael Marquez. Maybe just a little too heavy for Too Sharp, the 118-pound limit, though 122 tonight for this one against Villalobos. A lot of fans here supporting Too Sharp Johnson. Brought a few of his fans from D.C. Just about a 30-minute drive north of Washington is Bowie, Maryland. Villalobos with a nice body shot that time, and he is not afraid to mix it up on the inside with Too Sharp. Very apparent here the size difference, though the weight is the same. These two guys look a lot different. Too Sharp Johnson in the white trunks, Villalobos in the green trunks with a white trim. Too Sharp looking much bigger than Villalobos. I'll be surprised if Villalobos can stand up to this punching power through 10 rounds of boxing. As round 1 comes to a close here in Bowie, Maryland. Too Sharp pounding away with the right hand. Back with more from Bowie, Maryland. We are ready for round 2. There he is, Paulino Villalobos, trying to handle Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Certainly a class distinction between these two fighters. Too Sharp, one of the greatest ever at his weight class. Villalobos, a losing record, 23-24. But he says he was ready. Talking to him before tonight's fight, he says, I'm going to show Too Sharp Johnson how a tough Mexican fights. And Too Sharp's been in against all the best all over the globe. I'd be shocked if Villalobos can really back up his talk. Too Sharp Johnson started his pro career back in 1990. And just what a great pro career he's had. He won the first flyweight title on his record in 1993. Decision win over Alberto Jimenez. And he continued to dominate the flyweight division quite a long time. Actually, up until he ran into some legal problems. In 96, he won the vacant super flyweight title, moved up in weight, and then was incarcerated for a short time, then came back on the comeback trail, retained the super flyweight championship, the win over Luis Bolano, 4-round TKO. Actually took the title over Fernando Montiel and defended it against Luis Bolano back in 2004. You see Johnson with superior punching power right now. Nice leaping right hand by Villalobos. Too Sharp in command here in round 2. Heard Johnson in the soundbite before the fight started talking about how he's got a lot at risk here. Good body shot by Villalobos, drawing some fire back from Mark Johnson. Good body work by both men here. A little bit of a low blow there by Villalobos. Johnson takes all the risk in this fight. Villalobos has the losing record. Yeah, he can get a win here, but it's not going to put him in any kind of title contention. Good body shot again with the right hand by Johnson. Digging away now. He's sitting down on his punches here now. Villalobos sitting there trying to battle back. Can't deny he's got heart, if nothing else. Good right hand there by Mark Johnson. Another right hand by Johnson. Villalobos, though, battling back. Those punches not seeming to slow him down at all. Anyway, Johnson's had his career resurrected here over the last year. Good battle back by Villalobos, and he's got a big title shot in his future. But a cut, a knockdown, a surprise here in this one could jeopardize a lot of money in that unification bout, as well with Luis Perez. Both men having their moments here in round 2. Nice left hand by Villalobos. Good body shot by Villalobos. Kenny Chevalier stepping in to separate the fighters. His body shot to the ribs by Too Sharp Johnson. And we'll stay right here. Don't forget our main event still to come. Layla Ali, the one and only, and Nikki Eplion in a championship fight. That's coming up a little bit later from Bowie, Maryland. There's a corner of Villalobos. Doesn't seem to be too bothered by much. Almost appears to be ignoring his corner. Villalobos, got to give him credit. He stood in there and punched back with Mark Too Sharp Johnson, one of the heavier-handed fighters in his weight class, the super flyweight weight class. or the junior bantamweight weight class, depending on your preference. This fight again is scheduled for 10 rounds. There he is, Villalobos, originally from Mexico, now making his home in Fort Myers, Florida. And round 3 is underway. Talking about the resurrection of Too Sharp's career. Really, when he came back first time after being idle for 2 years, had a 2-fight winning streak, then he took on Rafael Marquez. And Marquez at the time won a split decision. Then the vacant bantamweight title, the USBA bantamweight title, was up for grabs in Las Vegas in February of '02, and it was Rafael Marquez and Too Sharp Johnson. Again, this time Too Sharp could not handle the weight class, really. I think a little too heavy for Too Sharp. He kind of wilted towards the end of the fight, and he lost by TKO in the 8th round to Rafael Marquez. Rafael Marquez, currently one of the top bantamweights out there. He rules the IBF. In fact, he is considered the best bantamweight out there pound for pound right now, Rafael Marquez. Good body shot by Too Sharp Johnson on the inside. Anyway, after the loss to Marquez, Too Sharp decided he was going to go back, drop a weight class to the junior bantamweight weight class, and won a title, won the WBO title. And he's got a unification fight on the horizon. He can get by Villalobos. Good right hand by Too Sharp, rocks the head of Villalobos. Too Sharp not using any ring movement, just deciding to stand and hit. I think he thinks he can take Villalobos out at any time. Villalobos is tough, though. He's there battling back. Doesn't have a lot of punching power, just 14 knockouts out of 47 career fights. I guess we can gauge the punching power of Too Sharp Johnson by taking a look at the chin of Villalobos, who, yeah, he's got a losing record. Hasn't been knocked out very often. Got to go back to 2001. Antonio Torres in Mexico City took him out in the 11th round of the Continental America's Light Flyweight Championship. Since that time, he's been beaten many times, but not knocked out. So Too Sharp Johnson got a tough customer when he picked Paulino Villalobos for this tune-up fight. Good body shot by Villalobos. Counter uppercut on the inside by Too Sharp. Less than 30 seconds to go in round 3. Good short punches there by Villalobos. Too Sharp just chopping away himself. Digging to the body with the right hand. Doubling up that right hook. Too Sharp throwing from his heels. Good round for Mark Too Sharp Johnson, round 3 here in Bowie, Maryland. All right, Corona's World Class Championship Boxing has Too Sharp in the ring. Mark Too Sharp Johnson, arguably the best flyweight of all time. There's obviously a lot of debate when it comes to those type of statements, but his record speaks for himself. Dominated the division for over 5 years, took on all comers, traveled all over the globe, and they have to wipe off the gloves of Villalobos. His corner rubbed a little Vaseline on his gloves, and that is not acceptable to the referee, Kenny Chevalier. Round 4 underway. Unofficially on our scorecard, we have this 3 rounds to none in favor of Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Fight is scheduled for 10 rounds tonight. Too Sharp Johnson in the white trunks with the yellow front, and in the green trunks with the white trim, Paulino Villalobos. Talking about Mark Johnson starting his career a long time ago. Well, Villalobos, 1989, a year before Mark Johnson started his career, Villalobos started. In fact, his first 5 fights in Mexico, on the fight information that we received, the official fight faxes, there is no city listed, so a lot of fights down in Mexico do go unrecorded or get picked up after the fact. No doubt this guy's tough. He's been in against a lot of tough fighters. Most of his fights in Mexico. He's been all over the globe just like Too Sharp. South Africa, Thailand, the United States. He's fought in England a couple times. So Villalobos, a journeyman a career opponent, if you will. But look at him right there, hanging in with Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Actually, in this round, Villalobos scoring the most blows so far. Johnson tried to push him away with the shoulder. Try to get Villalobos off him. Well, those 3 inches in height really mean so much in this weight class. Villalobos eats a body shot from Too Sharp but keeps on battling back. The warning from Kenny Chevalier for a low blow from Too Sharp. More good body work that time by Villalobos. Quick right hand by Too Sharp Johnson scores. Nothing fancy from Villalobos. He's right in front of Too Sharp, throwing punches. Showing good defense with his hands held high and his elbows tucked in. It's been a good round for Villalobos, really. Again, beating Mark Johnson to the punch. Overhand right scores by Villalobos. Counter left hand by Too Sharp stings Villalobos, slows him down. Close round here, round 4. First 3 went the way of Too Sharp. Good left hand by Villalobos. Too Sharp, 4, 5, 6 straight left to right hooks by Too Sharp Johnson. Punch after the bell by Villalobos. Little heated exchange between these two junior bantamweights.
Let's go.
That's Ham Johnson, the father of Too Sharp Johnson. Paulino Villalobos. And you know, I gave Paulino Villalobos the 4th round because he really dominated the inside action for the first half of the fight. Johnson took a little bit of time off, it seemed, there in that round. And Villalobos right back in his face here in round 5. Reminder once again, still to come, the championship battle between Layla Ali and Nikki Eplion. Layla Ali risking her unbeaten record. Too Sharp Johnson, as we said, is a showman. Now Villalobos trying to draw Johnson in, looking to counter. Johnson's too much of a veteran to buy into that, though. Mark Johnson, 33 years old, native of Washington, D.C., never moved away. Loves fighting at home. Good overhand left that time by Villalobos scores. It's Too Sharp trying to show some movement for the first time in this fight. Johnson takes a lot of pride in the fact that he's never left Washington, D.C. And the name Too Sharp, in case you didn't know, comes from his background as a barber. It's a nickname he got way back when in his amateur career, and it has stuck. Those some sharp punches as well. Midway through round 5. One thing about Johnson here that's making this a tough fight for him and keeping Villalobos in the fight is his lack of movement. There you saw Too Sharp just standing in the center of the ring. And the Villalobos punches, he lands. Johnson trying to step aside and dig a body shot to the midsection of Villalobos. Another body shot by Too Sharp. Judges for this one tonight, John Gradowski, Malik Waleed, and Don Risher. Good body shot that time by Villalobos. Again, Too Sharp Johnson allowing Villalobos to get off first. Those aren't damaging blows, but they're scoring. And Johnson allowing Villalobos to stay in this fight. Again, Villalobos with the faster work rate, throwing more punches. So Too Sharp respond with 1 punch to Villalobos' 4. Nice combination as round 5 comes to a close in Bowie, Maryland.
If you're like us, you'll never want to waste your time on a treadmill again. This
Time for round 6 here in Bowie, Maryland. Larry Michael, you're watching Corona's World Class Championship Boxing, a presentation of CSI Sports. Great to be with you tonight. Layla Ali coming up in our main event. Mark Too Sharp Johnson, one of the best little men in the business right now, with the journeyman Paulino Villalobos. And I've given the last 2 rounds to Villalobos just because he's been more active than Too Sharp, which means 3 rounds to 2. Johnson leads at the midway point. And again, just to reiterate the fact, so much on the line for Too Sharp Johnson in this fight. Unification battle in his future. Too Sharp at the age of 33 is reaching the point of his career where he can't afford a setback. It'll be very difficult for Villalobos to get a decision here in Johnson's backyard. By the same token, Too Sharp wants to win and win impressively. Nice combination by Too Sharp. Combination and stepped away, showing his boxing ability. Johnson showing very little respect for the punching power of Villalobos. Look at how low Johnson has his hands. Not protecting his chin at all. Villalobos only knows how to fight one way, continues to move forward, continues to throw punches. None of those landed. Good head movement by Too Sharp Johnson. One thing here is Mark Johnson showing his escapability in the ring. But in terms of number of punches thrown, Villalobos is keeping up. And of course, Johnson has the heavier punch. Body shot by Villalobos. You see Johnson just walk right through it. Another body shot that time with the left hand by Mark Johnson. Johnson is so much more physical than Villalobos. You can see it in every clinch and every exchange. Again, Kevin Chevalier, the referee, stepping in. Villalobos daring Johnson to hit him. Closing moments of the 6th round. This is what the crowd came to see. Villalobos tags him with a left hand. Too Sharp with his hands held at his waist. He's daring Villalobos to tag him in the end of an entertaining, if not effective, round 6. Gonna stick it right here, keep it right here, ringside at Bowie Baysox Stadium. The Bowie Baysox play baseball. Let's listen into Ham Johnson. Now the corner of Too Sharp Johnson giving him the obvious instruction. Use that straight jab. There's the corner of Villalobos, relatively unmarked.
Hey, make sure we get that water, okay? That water. Come on. Ready? Come on. Okay, I don't want that water in that corner this time. Come on, Mark Johnson. Seconds down, seconds down. Let's go, let's go.
Well, everybody in the arena here in the stadium is telling Mark Johnson the same thing. Use the jab. And he really has not used the jab that much. He's gone to power shots to the body and head. And that's good instructions from Ham Johnson, Mark's trainer, as well as his father. The jab from Johnson would be the right hand, and Villalobos, again, trying to goad him into a war. Good body work by Villalobos. Cut by Too Sharp. Again, not really listening to his corner, not going to the jab here in round 7. Villalobos right in front of Johnson. The jab is not there. And again, Villalobos quicker to the punch than Too Sharp Johnson here. A minute into round 7. See, it seems as though Too Sharp can turn it on and off whenever he wants. Just wonder if he really wants to get 10 rounds of action here, or is having some kind of legitimate problem with Villalobos, which I can't believe. That's the best punch of the fight right there. The right hand by Too Sharp Johnson tagged Villalobos, who's in some trouble up against the ropes. First time we've seen Villalobos pinned up there like this. Trying to battle his way off the ropes. Villalobos keeps coming right in the face of Too Sharp Johnson. Those punches off the gloves of Too Sharp Johnson. Less than a minute to go here in round 7. Too Sharp Johnson and Paulino Villalobos. It's been a good round for Too Sharp Johnson. Had Villalobos up against the ropes. Had him stung with the right hand. I think some of the folks here at Baysox Stadium are a little surprised that Villalobos is still there. Too Sharp's corner told him to go to the jab in this round. Well, he's dominated the round, but it hasn't been with the jab. See how low he's keeping that right hand. Trying to invite Villalobos in. Round 7 winding down here in Bowie, Maryland. Good round for Mark Too Sharp Johnson. 3 rounds to go. 7 rounds in the books. There he is, Paulino Villalobos, trying to find some strategy against Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Villalobos has been right in front of Too Sharp this entire fight. Hasn't been able to hurt him, however. Villalobos again from Mexico. Real tough guy, real tough chin. So far, has not done anything offensively against Too Sharp Johnson. I shouldn't say nothing, but he's done very little. So again, between round, Too Sharp's corner told him to use the jab. He really hasn't done it this entire fight. We saw 1 jab from Too Sharp. Little elbow on the inside by Too Sharp that time. Follows it with a straight left hand. Villalobos with a rabbit punch there. Well, the fact that Villalobos is southpaw giving Too Sharp some problems, I would doubt that. Too Sharp hasn't been able to hurt Villalobos, which is the biggest surprise so far. The fact that Johnson has dominated the fight was expected. It was also expected that he would dispatch of Villalobos. That hasn't been the case so far. Kenny Chevalier breaks up the clinch. It would seem like Mark Too Sharp Johnson has that left hand cocked and ready. He could throw it right over the right hand of Villalobos. He's not pulling the trigger on. There was the right hand, and it scored. Also, Villalobos working his way in. He'd be working his way right into that punch if Too Sharp could time it. There's the jab, finally, from Mark Too Sharp Johnson. He's not really being that effective with the jab, though, and that's causing him maybe to, go away from that as a weapon. There's another warning from referee Kenny Chevalier with the bump of the shoulder. Well, Lobos, a little forearm on the inside that time himself. This fight getting a little dirty here in round 8. Good body shot by Too Sharp Johnson, making Villalobos double clutch a little bit. It's almost coming natural to Too Sharp to push Villalobos around the ring. He's the bigger man. He's the stronger man. Villalobos not giving him much space. 6 minutes to go in this one. If it goes the distance, Too Sharp Johnson cruising along. 6 minutes to go in this one. Too Sharp Johnson looking very cool on his stool, talking to someone on the corner there and listening to his father, Ham Johnson. And I'm going to be interested to see what he says about this fight. Was Villalobos a little tougher than he expected? We're going to find out if Too Sharp does win it. It's a 10-round super bantamweight fight. Now, Too Sharp Johnson, one of the super bantamweight champions. That's the 115-pound weight class. And the challenger down the road, or actually the other champion, Luis Perez, along with Alexander Munoz and Martin Castillo in the WBA. WBC Kawashima of Japan is the champion. Too Sharp Johnson has traveled all over the world. That weight class, you don't have a lot of American fighters at that weight class. So Too Sharp has gone all over the world trying to find the right opponent.
You a little low on that, okay? You all right?
And the referee, Kenny Chevalier, warning Villalobos for the low blow, giving Too Sharp time to recover. He says he's ready. Kind of a sign of desperation by Villalobos to throw the low blow. The thing about Villalobos, he's kept that defensive posture the whole fight. His elbows in, his hands high. Can't say the same thing about Too Sharp, though now he goes to that defense. Too Sharp really did some good work to the body with the right hand earlier in this fight. It's deserted the body attack somewhat. And really hasn't relied on the jab as much as his corner would have liked him to. Another low blow that time by Villalobos. Minute to go in round 9. Well, one thing, Mark Johnson getting a good night's work here against a tough opponent. Not a lot of punching power, but certainly tough. Villalobos trying to battle back here in round 9. Definitely out-punching Too Sharp Johnson at this point. Good round for Villalobos as Too Sharp maybe has slowed down a little bit here in round 9. Too Sharp trying to show he's got some good head movement still. Completely unprotected. He's sticking his head out and daring Villalobos to hit him. Villalobos just doesn't have the skills to do it. 10th and final round is coming up next. Can Too Sharp Johnson keep on pace for a unification battle? That's coming up. 3 minutes to go. You see Ham Johnson just screaming at his son, Too Sharp Johnson, to get it going here. We want a knockout. We want to win impressively. And with 3 minutes to go, we'll see what these men have left. On my very unofficial scorecard, I have Too Sharp ahead in this fight, 6 rounds to 3. And I'd be shocked if it was any closer than that on the judges' scorecards. Good right hand by Too Sharp here to start round 10. The 10th and final round. See those peppering punches that Villalobos is throwing, those are looking good, but they're not impacting at all. Too Sharp switching over to the conventional stance, trying to throw that uppercut. Trying to catch Villalobos with a bolo punch. Too Sharp talking to the fans at ringside here in Bowie. Doesn't look like Too Sharp is going to force a knockout here. I think he just wants to continue to box. And if Villalobos cooperates, maybe he'll walk into one. Nice right hand by Too Sharp Johnson, catching Villalobos on the way in. Neither man has been down. Neither man has been cut. This fight scheduled for 10 rounds, and it looks like it's headed to the distance. Very hot, humid night in Bowie, Maryland. You can see the referee just completely soaked. Need some stamina to go 10 rounds on a night like this. This is an outdoor facility. And combine the heat and humidity with the lights that are above the ring, and it's really tough on these guys. Less than a minute to go in this fight. Too Sharp Johnson trying to stay away from Paulino Villalobos. Just circling the ring. He feels that he has plenty of margin here. I'm not so sure. It's not closer than my 6 rounds to 3 score in favor of Too Sharp Johnson. I don't know what fight the refs would be watching, though, if it was any closer than that. Less than 30 seconds to go in this fight. Kenny Chevalier doing his best Spanish there, trying to get Villalobos to understand him. Clock winding down. It looks like this one will be in the hands of the judges. We go the distance, 10 rounds. Who takes home this one? We're going to find out in a minute. Also still to come, our main event. The one and only Laila Ali taking on Nikki Eplion. Just 1 loss on her record. That's coming up. But first, the decision after this. We're back to Bowie, Maryland. Maybe a surprise to some. This fight goes the distance. Paulino Villalobos hangs in against Too Sharp Johnson. Too Sharp Johnson, a world champion for many, many years. The WBO junior bantamweight champion. The decision is in. Does Too Sharp get it tonight in Bowie? Let's find out.
After 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. The official scoring is as follows. Judge Malik Wali scored it 97-93. Judge Don Risher and John Gradowski both scored it the same, 96-94, all to the winner by unanimous decision. Mark Too Sharp Johnson.
I guess Villalobos thought that maybe he had snuck that decision, but no dice. Too Sharp Johnson takes home the win. Coming up, a conversation with the winner, Mark Too Sharp Johnson. That's coming up next. Don't go away. Back still to come, the main event, Laila Ali and Nikki Eplion. But first, a conversation with Mark Johnson, unanimous decision winner over Paulino Villalobos.
Too Sharp, let's get your thoughts on how you think things went for you this evening. I know you were a little concerned coming in about, this particular fight. So how did it work out for you?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior. I'd like to thank the man upstairs for keeping me strong, keeping me healthy. Good fight, good congratulations. Of course, my wife right here, the boss, who kept me ready. But this was a tougher fight than I thought. I knew he was a tough opponent when I seen him and when we signed for it. So this is the type of fight I didn't want, but it's a good fight leading up to the Perez fight, a good, strong fight.
Well, it was a good, strong fight, and it was also a fight for you in front of the home folks. And I know I covered Holyfield in Atlanta the first time he fought, and it was a real difficult fight for him because of the distractions. How tough was that angle for you to deal with throughout the course of the week?
Well, it was very tough because you're fighting at home. Everybody wants tickets. You can't prepare as well as you want. This is the highest weight class I ever came in, 123, and it just let me know that the weight was too much for me to carry. If I do it the right way moving up, I would. But right now, I didn't do it the right way, and I got the decision. And it was a good fight coming home for the home team fans, a 10-round decision.
You said that you didn't do it right. What didn't you do right in terms of the weight?
Well, I didn't do my weight training the proper way. I didn't prepare the proper way that I wanted to because I kind of overlooked this guy, and I know I shouldn't do that. But this was the type of fight I wanted. Leading up to the Luis Perez fight, Luis Perez, southpaw, he's southpaw, I think I'll bring this guy, Paul Vala, in the camp with me because he fights just like Perez, and he'll be a good training camp for him.
At the end of the day, you did get a chance to put on a show for the home folks. How sweet was it for you, Too Sharp?
I mean, well, that's the main thing. The main thing is just, coming home, enjoying doing what I do. I couldn't get a knockout. You can't get a knockout every fight, but I'll take the win.
Thanks a lot. Best of luck to you down the road.
So Too Sharp Johnson gets the win tonight. Coming up, Henry Buchanan and Keith